Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, everybody.
What's up? Welcome.
Welcome to our podcast.
Plant That Sis. My name's Taryn.
And I'm Tate.
And we are sisters, believe it or not.
Yep.
Casual houseplant and just general plant enthusiasts who are so excited to finally get this started.
Yes, we are.
So, telling you kind of about the podcast. This is something we have been excited to start for a while, and you know how it goes. It's taken a while to get it going, but we're finally here and ready to share.
So, a big part of the podcast is us just kind of wanting to share our experience with the plant community, with people out there who also maybe like houseplants and taking care of them or other kinds of plants. Sharing our experiences, our successes, our failures, and everything in between.
We're definitely just always talking about plants in general. That's just one of the things we do already when we're chatting. And so we were kind of like, you know what? I feel like we could help people either learn from our mistakes because we've made so freaking many of them, or even better, we can learn from other people too. So we're just really looking to connect with the houseplant community in general and maybe even help you guys connect a little bit more yourselves. If you're looking to get in or if you're already in and you know all the things, please chat with us, interact with us, share with us. We are totally here to spread the plant love.
Yes, even for people who think that they kill everything they touch. You know, we've all been there at some point, so just feel free to listen in. That's why we're here. You know, we're definitely no experts by any means, but we
are here to be your moral support because we haven't needed it in the past with we've been each other's moral support, I should say.
And it's just fun. It's fun to talk about, and it's fun to learn from each other and everyone, so...
Yeah, if you're anything like us and you are always looking for more plant conversations, I know I spend tons of my free time on all kinds of different platforms consuming any and all things about plants because obviously we love it.
Yes, and I can't tell you how many people I've bored talking about plants, and you know, they're always so nice. They're always so nice. They nod along, you know, they say, oh, that's cool. But really in their head, they're like, I don't want to know about your plant that's dying or that's living. So, hopefully with this podcast, we can find people and connect with people that do share a similar hobby and passion for growing plants.
Yup. And just kind of right off the bat, I'm sure you've already picked this up by now, but this is totally a side project hobby Tate and I are starting. We are by no means professionals. You should see our setup. It's great homemade DIY little situation we have going on in one of Tate's extra bedrooms.
Yep.
So we are here to hang out and have fun and just figure it all out. And I'm pretty sure there will be tons of side convos about many other things, you know, life and funny memories and all kinds of good stuff that doesn't have anything to do with plants. So just heads up on that.
Yes. And like Taryn said, we're not professionals by any means. We're definitely not here to give a lecture on a plant. We're just kind of here to share what worked, what didn't work, our experiences, and talk about, you know, a lot of things. Well, maybe not a lot of things, but plants mostly.
I mean, probably a lot of things, though. I feel like a lot of things will probably come up.
It may happen.
Which is fine. That's the best thing about a podcast. You can just fast forward through the crap you don't want to hear.
Exactly. If you don't like it, just skip ahead a couple seconds, couple minutes.
No problem.
No problem. We get it.
Yes. And like Tate said, we are no experts as far as obviously podcasting and also plants. So that's kind of what we're looking to explore is all the different care guides and videos out there or articles or whatever it is. Just kind of sharing what we have experienced as we've learned as along the way. And we're definitely looking for, you know, opportunities to give shout outs to those awesome resources because there are tons of pros out there that have tons of tips that have helped me through.
Yes, exactly. Me too.
So we are looking to help just push those people forward for sure.
All right. So for this section and for this episode of this podcast, we're going to talk about our experiences growing plants, killing plants, figuring out what worked, what didn't, and why do we even bother? What's the point? And why we think other people might enjoy this hobby.
So going into kind of my, I guess, journey, that's such a cheesy word, but it's just the best way to describe it, I guess. So where I kind of started with houseplants kind of goes back to our grandma, Grammy.
Shout out to Grammy.
Shout out to Grammy. She's a real one. You'll hear plenty about Grammy because we got some great Grammy stories going on. So I feel like that's really where my, appreciation for plants has come from. She just would give us all kinds of plants randomly when we went to her house for Sunday lunches and things like that. She would just always be like, here, take this cutting, or here, take this plant that I potted for you.
She has the greenest thumb of anybody I ever know.
It's so ridiculous. And she loves to say, there were so many, especially early on, I would be like, Grammy, that thing you gave me died. How do you keep this stuff alive? And she'll be like, oh, just stick it in a pot and water it.
Yep.
No, it is not a stick it in a pot and water
I think for her, it's that simple.
Yeah.
I think for her,
but
just,
how?
she just sticks it in a pot and waters it. And...
Yes, I just don't understand. So really, that's kind of where it started, just her giving us a bunch of plants and me calling her and being like, Grammy, worst news ever. And I would be so stressed. I'm one of those, it's a freaking personality trait. I'm one of those people, I don't like being bad at stuff. So when they would always die, I was like, this is stupid. This is so annoying to me. Why? And they looked good when I got them and I liked them, but then it would annoy me
that
they
would take it personally when they die.
Yes.
It's like they personally hated you so much.
It was a blow to my freaking ego, I guess, which is such a problem. So once in a while, I would actually be able to kind of keep them alive. And I feel like the ones that were the most successful were just the obviously very hardy ones that I would throw out on my patio and think about maybe once a month, pop my head out there, be like, ooh, shoot, I forgot about that. Pop out there, be like, okay, still alive, and then all the other ones around it dead. So I feel like I definitely have like a survivor's club of plants that I've had for a while, as far as at least my hobby goes. This is probably, I would say, 5 years in the making?
Yeah, I would say so.
Throughout growing up some too, but especially, going off to college and then being adults. That's when we really got the gift of plants, which obviously is the true gift that keeps on giving, all right? A lot of my first plants came from Grammy. That's really where it started and where it came from. And I definitely, of course, a lot of my first tips as learning came from Grammy. But I feel like, especially now, as I'm learning more about plants and getting better at taking care of them, she's a very, kind of like we said, stick it in a pot, water it. I mean, it's definitely by no means a very regimented schedule or lots of extras. She's a very naturalist when it comes to taking care of her plants. And so I will say probably, I don't know, at some point in 2019, I started ordering some plants online that I saw on Etsy. I was like, oh, you can buy plants online? That's a thing?
Yeah, I didn't know that until recently.
Yeah, and I was like, I just was rolling the dice and ordered some stuff. And one of the first things I ordered was this French lavender, and it made my apartment smell so good. It was amazing, but of course it died so fast.
Yeah, I had a lavender once and
she gone.
R.I.P.
Yeah, she gone.
She's gone.
It smelled so good though.
I miss her.
And I think in that same order, I got a ZZ plant that I still have. That's still alive.
Looking real good.
Yes, it has just recently actually started.
That's what it's about, folks. You have some failures and you miss them deeply, but the ones that survive and the ones that live, they look so good and so satisfying.
Yes, and it makes you feel so much better about all the L's that you've taken along the way.
So pouring out for the homies that didn't make it.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of that going on over here. But I think from there, I had placed a couple of online orders for plants and was just slowly, I really don't know when I started getting more and more into it, but I started accumulating a little bit more here and there. And I do think most of them ended up out on my patio. They weren't really house plants per se. And then, just like the rest of the world and everybody else that's 20-something like we are, quarantine hits, and guess what? I went crazy.
Yes, I felt like because of quarantine, we really got to kind of dive into this hobby. It's a good hobby. You can do it at home. You don't have to go many places, or you can just go get your plants and leave,
What a throwback to when we were stuck at home. My plants were pristine.
Oh, yeah.
They were very well taken care of. And now that I'm back at work, things are going well, but it's just not the same.
Just can't put the same amount of time.
Yeah, it was a really great time to try to learn because you had some time to really figure it out. So I, of course, again, like everybody else in the whole world, plants became a thing for me during quarantine. And I've been fast growing in my collection over here of houseplants. And hence this whole podcast and hobby. So I feel like I was, again, one of those people at the very beginning. I killed everything. I said that about myself 100 times. Like, I'm just not a plant person. I cannot keep this crap alive. And I feel like the biggest thing I have learned is that there's not one answer. There's not a correct answer, which, again, going back to me not liking, not being good at stuff. I didn't like that there's not one answer. And so it's just kind of figuring it out for yourself, which is what turns it into a hobby rather than a decoration.
I mean, yeah, to me, that's what makes it fun is I think the process of just figuring it out and learning like what works and what doesn't, like that's why I do it. I think it's just so fun to, you know, kind of figure out what they like, what they don't like. I mean, even guides online will say one thing or they'll say different things.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, there definitely are helpful guides out there, but a part of it is just figuring it out for yourself.
I almost feel too like some of the most basic plants are the ones that are the most confusing because there's so many different things out there.
Y'all ever Google, you know, plant yellow leaves?
Oh God, don't even get me started on yellow leaves.
It's like you're either watering it too much or you're not watering it enough, and I'm like, which one
this
is
or
it?
this or this or this or this or this or this.
It could be fungus.
And
it could
especially at the beginning, you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do with that information?
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, tell us about your experience.
Yeah,
Tate.
so
You're
okay,
a little bit more of a professional, I'd say.
I don't know if I would say I'm a professional, but ever since I was young, I just always kind of liked the outdoors and nature. And it's just always really fascinated me how so many different plants just really exist out there and they just find a way to live in these different crazy environments.
Yeah, Tate spent a lot more time outside than I did.
Yeah, I
up.
spent a lot of time outside growing up, like catching frogs and
God,
with all
so
the
many
plants
creatures she would try to bring in the house.
Yeah, I'd come home with like, you know, a whole thing of toads and my mom would be like, no.
We can't keep those.
She'd be like, no.
Meanwhile, we already had a lot of pets. Like, we always had a lot of pets growing up. Like, a turtle and a fish and a dog and a cat and
a couple birds.
Yes. Oh, God. Don't even get me started. You guys just need to know right now. We just need to get this out now. Guys, Tate loves birds.
I do like birds. I am currently a graduate student. I'm probably going to be studying birds for my thesis. I just like birds. I think they're cool. I'll try not to go... I won't talk about them a lot. I know they're not everyone's thing.
She can do bird calls. So
I know them.
She can identify.
Y'all don't want to hear me do bird calls, I promise. It is not. I don't want to blast your ears.
We will be doing something out in life, and she's like, "Oh, that's a yellow-bellied woodpecker." Or whatever.
You were close. Yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Okay.
You were close.
See, I'm
you almost had it
by force.
But yeah, so I've always just liked nature, liked plants, liked animals. Obviously, I think a lot of people kind of feel that, and that's why I like gardening and just having houseplants. It just makes me feel more connected to nature. It's just fun to watch them grow, especially when you can, you know, facilitate their growth and take care of them and make sure they are happy and healthy. Yeah, and so our dad also has a really green thumb. Mm-hmm. And so with both Grammy and our dad, I feel like both of us have been pretty exposed to growing plants throughout our lives. You know, our dad always had plants. He always had some kind of greenhouse where he could grow vegetables or just plants in general. He actually was a entomologist. So back in the day, he studied insects or got his degree in looking at insects and stuff. So yeah, he's also, I think he's where I got my love for nature and stuff. So
yeah, there's so many times, especially, so I'm the older sister.
Yes.
We're a little over 2 years apart.
Yeah.
And so growing up, especially when I was in middle school, y'all know how it is in middle school, you know.
It's a struggle.
It's a rough time.
It's just,
okay.
I feel like the people that had it good in middle school, you know.
Something's wrong with you.
If you had a really good time in middle school, we can't relate.
Yeah, I can't relate. No
good
judgment.
for you, but
yes, live your life.
Cannot relate.
But, not I, said the fly. That's probably the roughest go of it for me.
I'm just imagining myself and cringing. I'm just
it's rough. It is so rough. But I can definitely remember, you know, Dad and Tate would go out on nature hikes. They'd be like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Absolutely not."
Karen's like, "I'm not going outside. No thanks." All the bugs. Our dad was really funny, and he would like pretend to pick up a big bug and like pretend to throw it at you, you know. And Karen would scream.
He still does that. He still does that to me.
He does still do that. It's pretty funny.
It's ridiculous.
I'll have to post it on our Instagram or something.
Ooh, yeah.
Sometime.
That's
getting pranked. So yeah, our dad and our grandma, Grammy, they all had really green thumbs. So, you know, I almost feel like this hobby was kind of we kind of inherited it a little bit. You know, it was around us for a long time. I think we benefit from that a lot, honestly.
Totally.
You know, when we have issues with our plants, we can always talk to one of them and they'll have some suggestion. And that's kind of another reason why we started this podcast, because it's just fun to, you know, connect with people and share ideas and share what worked and share what didn't.
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things about the plant community, houseplant community, whatever you want to call it, is obviously it's a global, all over the world. People have all different kinds of plants and a lot of the same kinds of plants. And I think it's so cool that so many different types of people with so many different backgrounds can connect. And I think that's a beautiful thing we need right now is connection in such a divisive time.
Sure. Well, and isolated time.
Right, exactly.
Know? Yeah, I agree for sure. Growing a plant here may be different than growing a plant, say, in somewhere else. So that's kind of why I wanted to form a community around it. So that if maybe we don't have an answer for you, like someone else can have an answer for you, and you can form a community and meet people and talk about plants.
And then talk about more.
Yeah.
You know, you can...
Yeah, exactly.
You connect through plants, and then you get to learn about different people's lives and, you know, how different things look around the world.
Exactly.
I think it's fascinating.
Exactly. So yeah, I guess for houseplants for me, just, you know, I can remember gardening with our dad outside. We'd plant plants in our, like, you know, little flower bed outside and all that kind of stuff. He kind of would show me how to plant them and everything. But when I went to college, I think I started off with like a Lucky Bamboo or something. You know, one of those ones you just have.
Had to be from IKEA.
Yeah, it was either from IKEA or maybe like a grocery store. You know, they just have them. Like, I think it was from a grocery store. So I took that to college with me. It was awesome. R.I.P. You know, she didn't make it this far, but she definitely sparked my love for plants. And so I just slowly over time have accumulated more and more and more. I just like watching them grow. And it's, you know, as you start to get into it, your interest and your love for your plants also grows. So it's almost symbolic in a way.
Well, and I think Tate is selling herself short. She's always been pretty good with plants. I think she truly inherited the green thumb, whereas I've had to really work for it.
See, here's the thing, guys. Well, this may be a tangent, but here's the thing. Taryn really keeps up with stuff. Sometimes plants can benefit from you not keeping up with them. There are some plants that if you just don't mess with them, they just kind of do their thing. And those are the plants that I do really well. Yes. But yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, I do have benefits of, I have a degree in biology, so I think that does kind of help me a little bit with plants. And
she will be doing the research-based pieces.
Yes, yeah. So as far as like our podcast goes, I plan to just kind of talk about, you know, like, I like to say, like, why is this plant like this? Yeah. Like, if you have a plant and it will not cooperate with you, there's a reason why. You know, there's always some reason why it's being a weird way. Now, finding out the reason for that can be hard, but yeah, I plan to go over not too much science, but just like, you know, where the plants are from, why they're so hard to grow, why they're so easy to grow, and just some cool facts about them. Yeah. Pretty much. Yes. But I won't bore you guys too much on the science of the plants, even though I could talk about it for probably a long time.
A whole podcast.
A whole podcast, yeah. Unironically, yes.
Yeah, so we are just so excited to finally get to start this little project.
Yes, we've been talking about it for months.
So many months.
We just got so busy. I mean, like, everybody gets busy, you know, it happens. But, yeah, we're so excited to start and to share and to get it going.
It's happening, finally.
Yes. So excited to connect with people.
Yes.
For those of you that want to stick around.
Yeah, listen to us if you want, and if you don't, hey,
that's fine.
We support you.
That's okay.
No hard feelings.
We get it.
Okay, so that's kind of just about us and our journeys, just our first episode number 1, who and why, just kind of giving you background on who we are, why we're talking about what we're talking about. So coming up for our next episode, Basic Beginner-ish, we are going to go into a little bit more of detail about our current collections and what we're doing, kind of what methods we're using, talking about, you know, just a little bit more in detail, more planty things.
For those of you that maybe just are just now kind of getting into the whole planting scene, maybe some of you, you know, I've heard from countless people when I talk about plants or something, they say, I kill everything, like Taryn was saying how she used to be. So we're just going to talk about, you know, super general tips, you know, how to embrace
just the real beginner basics.
Yes, like, embracing the hardships, the deaths that,
embracing
you know, might
that
happen.
There's not one answer.
Yes,
that there's not one way to do it.
There's not one single easy fix for a lot of plants, but that's kind of the fun of it, is learning that and figuring out what works. So
yes, and if you're one of those people, you have been around, you were a houseplant person long before quarantine, we are all ears for any tips you have, especially as we move through these episodes. We're hoping to facilitate more conversations. Tate's so sciencey with her word facilitate, so I had to steal it.
It's what happens when you get a degree in science. They really like whip and train you being
it's all about the
really technical with your communication. So when Taryn and I were talking about this episode, I said something like,
it sounded so
facilitate
profesh.
collaborative communication across the plant community.
Oh my
and
God,
then I
it
was
was
thinking,
good.
I was like, wow, that was
It was
that
good.
was a little unnecessary.
No, it was good. It's just serious and science.
We're that's the whole point. Is this is casual? It's fun. It's casual. You know, we're not trying to be. I'm not trying to give you guys a plant biology lecture. It's not what this is about.
Yes, and if you can give us a plant biology lecture, we are
Please.
so here for it.
I'm here for it.
Again,
for sure.
our goal is connection.
Yeah.
Let's put you with
Talk.
somebody who needs some help.
Yeah.
Then you can help somebody if you're into that sort of thing. That's what we're trying to do. So join us for our next episode. Again, talking about the basic beginner stuff, where we're at with our collections. And also, if you are looking to kind of get going into it, how you might go about that.
Yeah, exactly. So we do have an Instagram, so you guys can follow us there at plant.sis.
Yes.
We'll be planting.
Yeah, we're going to be planting on Instagram.
Meant to say posting, but you know, whatever, same thing.
Yeah,
We'll be posting
us
on there about podcasts and just some of our plants that we have. So we know plants are really cool to look at, and with the podcast, you can't look at much. So we'll be posting all of our like plant progress and our pictures of our current plants, that kind of stuff, just on the Instagram. So yeah, feel free to follow us there. We also have a website. It's plant.sis.com. So feel free to check that out.
Yep, just kind of building it. Again, we're just getting things going.
Yeah, we're just getting it going.
You can also find us, so again, on Instagram and Twitter, our handle is at plant.sis, literally just 3 words. And then our website, again, plant.sis.com, trying to keep it simple, consistent, so you know where to find us. And you will also be able to find us on YouTube. We're going to be posting our podcast on YouTube. At this point, we have no visual component, but just if that's your preferred platform, we're going to get that on there for you guys.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to email us, I don't know if you want to kick it old school like that, but if you want to just shoot us an email, if you have thoughts on episodes or certain plant care or anything like that, you guessed it. Our email is plantthatsis@gmail.com, using Gmail. So
y'all got it.
I know there's just probably 100,000 people listening to this episode. If you guys are just itching to get in contact with us, those are all the places you can find us. And obviously, being a new podcast, any interactions you can give us are super, super helpful. And the most important and helpful one is Apple Podcast. It's not called iTunes anymore, I guess. I found out. So
okay, Apple Podcast.
Subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts, and I think also reviewing us helps with the, I don't know, algorithms or whatever. So, I mean, really, guys, in general, showing us any love is going to be great if you want to. And if you don't,
if you want to.
No worries, no pressure.
We're not saying you'll have to, you know.
Keeping it chill, guys.
Keeping it chill.
All about keeping it chill. So, we are so excited to get episode 2 going, and we will chat with you guys next week.
We sure will.
Okay, bye.
Bye.